Hey guys, what's up? Steve here. I wanted to make today's video or tonight's video because I can't sleep. Why can't I sleep? Because I fucked up. I drank alcohol, Captain Morgan specifically, 3 times in the last 10 days. Now, each time was a celebration. First celebration was my friend's getting married, one of my best friends. He asked a couple of guys over, a couple of friends, and he asked us to be in his wedding party. I was very honored. I ended up drinking an entire bottle of Captain Morgan to myself. I wasn't drinking alone, I was drinking in company. Christmas Eve, I drank a lot. I'd say another bottle of Captain Morgan. And I'm not talking about like a pint size, I'm talking about like a liter. And I suffered tremendous hangovers both days. And I did it to myself again last night, New Year's Eve. And I feel terrible. In the past, I've refused alcohol. I've refused recreational drugs. I refused marijuana, When past me, old Steve, before depression, before anxiety, would say, okay, whatever, it's a drink here, drink there, having a good time. It's just not good for my health. It's detrimental to my health. And for a lot of us out there, especially me, it's just not something I can do anymore, is drink in excess, and maybe not drink at all, because I feel the after effects for days. Increased anxiety, increased depression, sadly, thoughts of suicide, because I think that I have thoughts of suicide because of the feelings that I have are very, very similar to the feelings that I once felt when I was severely depressed, severely anxious. They're not as intense, but they are there. And it's scary to have thoughts like that, and I'll never act on them. And I know if I ever had a plan to commit suicide, exactly where I'd go and exactly who I'd call. I'd be going to the hospital. I'd be calling 911. I would be seeking help. And I'm not at that stage. And trust me, if I was, I'd be calling for help. But I'm making this video tonight to inform you guys that alcohol, self-medication, recreational drug use, especially if you're on medication, is a big no-no. It messes with your physiological system. It messes with any medications you're taking. It can make them not work as well or not work at all. Especially alcohol. If you're taking benzos, it can increase the strength of the benzo, which can kind of set you into a benzo withdrawal type symptom type thing, which is kind of what I'm in. Anxiety all day, dizziness, lack of sleep, trouble sleeping once I get to bed. I really don't want to wake up because I've been up for so long. And I've been dealing with this for 10 days now. And you would think yesterday, New Year's Eve, I would have been smarter, but I wasn't. So I fucked up. Being drunk, forgetting to take my medications at night, forgetting to take my vitamins, just taking poor care of myself has put me in this situation. And hopefully you guys can learn from my pain and my suffering, because I don't want people to feel like this. I don't want to feel like this. It's miserable. I want to be upstairs laying next to my wife, asleep, and waking up at a decent hour. But that's just not going to happen tonight. By the time I get to sleep, it'll probably be like 4:30 in the morning. When I had my sleep schedule intact, I had a routine going to work. Unfortunately, I'm out of work due to an injury, but it's just a whole nother story. I want you guys to know that I fucked up, and I hopefully, if you're self-medicating or if you're using alcohol or recreational drugs or prescription drugs that aren't yours, or you're abusing your prescription drugs, your medications, please don't. There's a better way. Talk to your doctor, talk to your therapist, talk to anybody. Say that you have a problem. I realize that I have a problem with alcohol. Once I start, I don't want to stop, especially around the holidays, especially around this time of year. For some reason, it gave me such like a high to feel confident and not anxious whatsoever. Not having to deal with the minor anxiety that I deal with day in, day out. But the after effects, brutal. Anxiety, like bad anxiety. And when I have that, it's just worse depression. Because they go hand in hand most of the time. Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel anxious? And then the anxiety just puts you to the floor, and you feel like shit when you're hungover. And when you feel physically ill, you really can't feel mentally good about yourself or mentally good at all. When you feel like shit, you're obviously going to feel even worse than you did before you got drunk or before you got high. You become dependent on that feeling, that secure feeling that's so temporary and ends up having a very adverse effect on what you originally chose to do. It's where a lot of people who have depression, who have anxiety, they turn to self-medication, they turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they turn to just people I've spoke to turn to going and buying benzos and Xanax and Klonopin and Ativan, and you never really hear of anybody going to buy antidepressants from somebody. That just doesn't really, I've never really heard of it. You can go to any doctor and get those, but controlled substances are what people are seeking, and they think that that's the only way out, or the only thing that's going to help. And I've learned over years that that's not the only things that help. It's supposed to be a band-aid. There's not supposed to be a permanent fix. So, just to sum up this ramble and to sum up getting this stuff off my mind so I can get to bed, because it's causing me so much anxiety, is that I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to still socialize. I'm going to still be myself. And I know in a couple days I'll feel back to where I was, because I know that drinking made me feel this way, made me feel like shit, made me feel depressed, made me feel thoughts of suicide, which sucks. I'm not suicidal, I promise you guys. I promise myself. Made me feel anxious, like uncomfortably anxious, and anxiety that I couldn't control and didn't want to be around anybody, and had a hard time expressing how anxious I was. It was my own fault. Something that I could have controlled, which I'm going to control from now on. And until I feel I'm ready to have a casual beer, which a long time ago I wasn't, and I refused to, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going to stick to what I know. I'm going to feel better. And hopefully this video helps somebody out. That's the point of them. They help me out, and I really hope they help you guys out. Sorry for the length in this one, 10 minutes so far. Hope everyone's doing well. I know my eyes look glassy as hell. I am tired. I'm just very anxious. Not as anxious as I was in the beginning of this video though. So thanks for hearing me out. Hopefully you guys learned something. Keep your heads up, keep fighting, and keep surviving. See you in the next one. Be well.